And what are you doing here today?
It's what I do as a profession. I draw at Westminster Abbey.
Ah, beautiful.
It's very clever, because there's so many different angles.
Yeah.
Could you hold that in the light for me a little bit, just so I could get a nice... Ah, there we go. That's beautiful. Yeah, you can tell you're a pro. So, what do you think about... what do you think Partygate has actually taught us?
Well, I think Partygate was scandalous.
I mean, I think that the real Partygate scandal is that the two parties neither of them serve the interests of the British people, and they serve corporate interests instead of ours.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
Yeah, well, I don't think the British people have a high priority with certain Conservatives.
What was the rest of the country doing when they were having a party? They were doing the same thing.
Well, yeah, I think everybody should have been having a party, to be honest. I think everybody should have been left alone, and lockdown shouldn't have happened, and the working classes should have been allowed to make money.
There's something more behind it.
There's something more behind it. Yes, there
You
is.
know what I think it is?
What is it?
Russia and Ukraine. And
Right.
That's what I think it is.
Elaborate.
Something going on that we don't know.
Yeah.
And to me, this is the fourth Prime Minister in my life that they've got rid of. There was Anthony Eden, there was Margaret Thatcher, there was Theresa May, and now Boris Johnson. That's four that they've got rid of. So it just shows that four of them gone. I mean, Anthony Eden, that was over the Suez crisis.
Right.
And they put about 80,000 troops. I was there in the Suez, and they put 80,000 troops into the Suez, and there was only accommodation for 4,000, and we had to sleep in tents.
Right.
And the thing is, it wasn't very comfortable sleeping in tents, I'll tell you.
I bet not.
And there were no flush toilets. Well,
Yeah.
there you are. You could smell them, but you couldn't find them.
So, that's great. So what do you think we learned from the Partygate scandal?
Well, to tell you the truth, it's 1 in 6 and half a dozen. Because to me is that I couldn't care less. I mean, I'm over 90-year-old, right?
You how old?
Over 90.
Over 90. Wow.
Right?
I wouldn't have said so.
And the thing about it was, everybody's entitled to do something, but it was just unlucky to get caught.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? Now, you see how many other people was doing the same thing in the country.
But do you think that the country should have been put under lockdown in the first place?
Well,
Because if you want to represent the interests, can I just say, if you want to represent the interests of the working classes, locking them down and preventing them from earning money while enriching the Fortune 100, 500 corporations who are their bosses looks pretty suspicious to me. I don't think it was about public health. How do you feel about that?
I would say that it wasn't a good thing, but when you think about it, to me is that you can't blame the rest of the people, because to me is the virus. Now, when I went to the Middle East, right, I got about 4 injections, right, and the thing was, nobody ever caught nothing, but we didn't complain. And if you got sunburned in the Middle East, you were put in a charge because it was self-inflicted. That was about the only thing you put in a charge. But I'm saying, you know, to me it's one of these things that the people they get caught. It's like speeding on a car. Same thing. If you get caught, you get caught because you shouldn't be speeding. And he got caught on the party.
But do you feel the rules should have been in place in the first place?
Well, that's right.
Do you feel they should have been? Yes. Why do you think that we should have been locked down? Were you personally afraid of the virus as being an elderly gentleman?
Because what I'm going to say to you was, I had the virus, right? Now, to me is, I don't know where I caught it. And that's the thing. Nobody, people were walking about with the virus.
As a military man, do you think that politicians look after the working class's interests?
Aye, you see, now,
Do you think we got locked down to protect us, or was there something else
well,
going
the
on?
lockdown, I think Boris Johnson did the right job with the lockdown, because people were walking about with the virus, right? And to me, it was a horrible thing. And I had the virus, and I come over. I didn't go in the hospital.
And you came through it, though.
I came through it,
Yeah. And you're over 90.
and I'm over 90 now.
And did you need a jab to help you?
Well, I've had 3 injections, but you see, I'm dextrocardia. Dextrocardia, you know what that is?
No, I don't.
My heart is on the right. I was born with my heart on the right-hand side,
Wow.
right?
Yeah.
And I just found that out. Now, you see, to me is, if Boris Johnson wanted to have a bloody party, he was entitled to have a party. But to me is, I don't think it did any harm, because these people don't mix with one another. These MPs,
They don't mix with each other.
they don't mix with other people.
Oh, you mean they exclude working class people
that's
from
what
their
they do.
environments that they hang out in?
Aye, they don't mix.
So therefore it's okay for them to give one rule to the others and then flaunt them themselves.
It could, you know.
Oh, that's what you think? Oh, that's interesting, Tech.
I mean, when we think about it, you don't see them. They hide in there. And that's the problem.
They don't appear to be scared of the virus at all, do they? That's why they have these parties.
That's
They
right.
don't care about the virus. They tell everybody else to be fearful, but they don't care. Is a flu virus, and it is not scary or virulent or dangerous enough to justify the measures they took at all.
I'm telling you, I had injections when I went to the Middle East. Smallpox.
But they're different.
Aye, malaria.
They're not like these ones.
Malaria. And all the rest of it. All the things, yellow fever and the rest of it. But nobody ever caught it. And
Yeah,
there were 80,000 troops into the Middle East.
Yeah. Maybe they were on the gin and tonics. You know what I mean? Maybe that helped out.
Because to me, you think I should have been lived through the war, 6.5 years through the war, and then get called up and into the Suez war. See what I mean? I don't think that, but I'm saying it happened.
Yeah.
And you can't do nothing about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well,
You see, they reckon that Stammer was seen drinking, but they've never done nothing about him, have they?
Well, he's fake opposition, isn't he? So he goes along with the programme. He refuses to provide opposition to the Coronavirus Act or the horrific bills that are going through Parliament that are stripping our human rights away. Have you heard about them? The online harms bill, you've got the Human Rights Act. They're taking our human rights away, they're censoring us. People like me aren't going to be, and you aren't going to be allowed to speak on the media at all anymore.
Nobody can say anything, or they would punish it. But to have a drink on Christmas, to me, is ridiculous.
Sorry, could you say that again?
People was entitled to celebrate Christmas. You should admire the Bible.
Admire the Bible.
But I'm not one of these.
So who are these guys to take Christmas away? That's what you're
See,
saying.
that was Christmas time. That they were celebrating Christmas.
Can I ask, have you taken the jabs since 2020, the more recent jabs, the mRNA jabs?
I've had the free a booster. I had the two and then I had the big one. And that was horrible.
How did it make you feel?
Well, I'll tell you, I had it on the Saturday, right? And would you believe this? When I got out of my bed on the Sunday morning, I collapsed.
Okay.
But was that with the jab, or what was it with? And nobody could explain.
Yeah, I think you know.
How did you know?
I think you know.
Was it the booster, or what was it?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if you take part in a medical experiment and feel poorly right afterwards, it's probably the medical experiment, right?
And I fell up against the door. My wife couldn't get in.
She She couldn't get in to help you.
I was at the back of the door.
Oh no.
So there you are.
That sounds terrible. So are you going to stop taking them now that you've had an adverse reaction to the things?
I don't think I would take another one.
Yeah, please don't. Please don't.
I don't think I would. Whole thing. Now you know that. Boris did a good job during the virus. But there's something more behind it. You don't get the sack or have to resign just for a story about a party.
Exactly. It's a storm in a teacup.
It is.
It's all a show, it's all theatre, it's all a script.
That's what it is.
And he's not being fired for that reason. They're getting a new face in for phase 2 of the virus nightmare that we're facing.
I don't know whether he had to pay a fine or anything, but I don't know that in questions. But what I'm saying to you is, I think it was a storm in a teacup.
Yeah, it absolutely. Have you heard about the 4th Industrial Revolution, Joseph? Have you heard about the World Economic Forum?
You see, to me is, when you think about it, this Ukraine thing, right? Boris shouldn't have been sticking his nose into that war.
Well, no, as a military man, I mean, you must know that NATO has been encroaching along the Russian border for a long time. They're poking the bear. They knew and wanted Russia to invade Ukraine. That's obviously all in the plan. They love the military-industrial complex has its new war. Right. Zelensky, the Ukrainian president, he used to be an actor and played the president on TV to prime the people to accept him. He's a predictive programming president. He's the perfect example of that. And this war is theatre. I mean, this military invasion of Ukraine's old hat now when they've got cyber warfare tactics they could have used.
But the thing is, I lived through World War II.
Yeah.
The whole year, right? And when Russia caught invaded Berlin, right? And that was the end of the war. Because they invaded Berlin on May 1945. And the war finished in June 45. And they captured Berlin. So that was it. See what I mean? So the Russians did us a favour.
Could you elaborate?
Now listen, you put yourself into my place, right?
Okay.
And the thing is, if it was you living through the war, and the Russians captured Berlin, and the war was finished then, that was the war finished, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they captured Berlin. What would you say about the Russians if you lived through the war and they ended the war?
Well, I would give Russia the credit that they were due.
That's right.
For defeating Hitler, not on the beaches of Miami where the Americans seem to act like it happened. No.
That's right.
No. Hitler got beat in Russia, didn't he?
See, the thing about it is they reckon there was nobody else there. There were no British and there was no American. They did it single-handed.
Yep.
Well, that's what I reckon.
That's what my dad says as well.
There you are. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So you've got another one.
Yeah. Exactly.
Eh?
Exactly.
But
Yeah, everybody likes to take credit for the Second World War. Even the Belgians tell us their own stories, and as they should, because they stood up to the invasion. But you know, in terms of who has the responsibility for defeating the German army more, in terms of countries, obviously Russia is number one.
You see, if you look at it another way, there was only one German ever got into this country, and you know who that was?
Who?
Rudolf Hess.
Oh, you're right. Didn't he come into Scotland though?
There's only one got in here.
Yeah, Rudolf Hess.
They never go over the channel.
And why did he come?
Well, why did he come?
Yeah, he came to fight Aleister Crowley in a battle, didn't he?
And on a Saturday night, we listened to Lord George, on the radio.
Yeah.
And he used to say, "This is Germany calling, Germany calling," and he knew what was going on in this country.
Yeah.
That's spies.
Oh yeah, for sure. Spies are everywhere, for sure.
Anyway, we'll see you again.
Yeah, can I say, do you know about the esoteric Rudolf Hess being kind of a magician, a dark arts, black magic practitioner?
I'm not, I'm just an ordinary person.
Fair play, fair play. But I think that's why Rudolf Hess parachuted in, because Aleister Crowley saw her here, enticed him into coming for a a duel, essentially, and wasn't there when Rudolf Hess arrived, and Rudolf Hess was just arrested and taken away and put in jail.
There you are. But
Yeah.
anyway, I'll let you go.
All right,
But
brilliant.
Hess, and the man caught him with a hay fork in Scotland.
Right.
You know that?
He was caught a what?
He was a farmer in Scotland,
A farmer caught him.
and he had a hay fork.
A hay fork.
A hay fork, that's what
Don't know. A hay fork. Right. Yes.
And he caught him with a hay fork.
Okay. Great.
Well, that was the story.
Did he stick it in him? Did he?
He should have.
As the tale goes,
I shouldn't say these
he
things.
should have. No, that's fine. You say whatever you like, Joseph. You earned it. You earned the right to say whatever you like.
Anyway, there you are.
Excellent.
Bye bye. Take care. Bye now.
What a brilliant bloke.